Your soulmate and the third party just hit a breaking point. Now their next move involves you. My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because this message has reached you at a moment when something behind the scenes is changing. You may not see the entire picture yet, but there is movement around the connection you have been carrying in your heart. There has been tension, hesitation, silence, confusion, and perhaps even a feeling that someone or something has been standing between you and the person you believe is your soulmate. But my beloved child, what appeared to be permanent is beginning to shift. What appeared to be unbreakable is being tested. What appeared to be a settled situation is reaching a breaking point. The third party who once seemed to have control may no longer have the same influence. Your soulmate has been forced to look at certain truths they avoided for a long time. They have been forced to question their own choices, their own emotions, and the direction their life has been taking. My beloved child, do not assume that silence means nothing is happening. Sometimes silence is where the deepest decisions are being made. Sometimes a person becomes quiet because they are wrestling with feelings they cannot explain. Sometimes a connection appears frozen because something much deeper is being rearranged. You have wondered why your soulmate has not spoken, why they have not made the move you expected, why they seem distant, and why the presence of another person has complicated everything. But today, I want you to understand that the story is not finished. The tension has reached a point where something must change. Your soulmate cannot continue pretending that everything is fine when their heart knows that something is missing. They cannot keep avoiding questions that have been following them everywhere. They cannot keep running from emotions that return whenever they are alone. My beloved child, there may have been moments when your soulmate tried to convince themselves that they had moved on. They may have tried to distract themselves. They may have tried to become comfortable with another situation. They may have even told themselves that choosing the easier path would protect them from emotional pain. But the heart does not always obey the plans of the mind. A person can create distance with their body while still carrying someone deeply in their thoughts. A person can stop communicating while still remembering every conversation. A person can appear calm while privately struggling with memories, regrets, questions, and unfinished emotions. My beloved child, your soulmate has been confronting those unfinished emotions. The third party may have noticed the change. They may have sensed that your soulmate was becoming emotionally distant. They may have asked questions. They may have demanded reassurance. They may have tried to strengthen their position. But pressure cannot create genuine love. Control cannot manufacture peace. Fear cannot permanently replace truth. And your soulmate is beginning to understand that. There is a difference between staying somewhere because you are afraid to leave and staying somewhere because your heart truly wants to remain. There is a difference between comfort and fulfillment. There is a difference between habit and love. There is a difference between obligation and genuine connection. My beloved child, your soulmate is beginning to recognize those differences. This does not mean you should sit and wait for them. It does not mean you should chase them, beg them, or try to interfere with their choices. No. Your role is not to force an outcome. Your role is to protect your peace and allow truth to reveal itself. If this connection is meant to return into your life, it will not need you to destroy yourself trying to make it happen. The right movement will come through clarity, honesty, accountability, and free choice. My beloved child, something happened recently or something is developing now that has caused your soulmate to look at the third party differently. Perhaps there was an argument. Perhaps a promise was broken. Perhaps a conversation exposed something that had been hidden. Perhaps your soulmate simply realized that the relationship they were trying to maintain was not giving them the emotional peace they expected. Sometimes a breaking point does not come through one dramatic event. Sometimes it comes through hundreds of small disappointments accumulating until the heart finally says, "I cannot continue like this." Your soulmate may have reached that moment. They may have realized that pretending is exhausting. They may have realized that avoiding the truth is creating more pain than facing it. My beloved child, you may have sensed this shift without knowing why. You may have suddenly thought about them more strongly. You may have dreamed about them. You may have felt emotional for no obvious reason. You may have noticed reminders of them appearing in ordinary places. You may have wondered whether these moments mean anything. Do not build your entire life around signs, but allow them to remind you of one simple truth: your heart is still processing what happened. You deserve clarity, not confusion. You deserve reciprocity, not endless uncertainty. You deserve someone who chooses you openly rather than someone who keeps you hidden in emotional shadows. My beloved child, if your soulmate returns, let them return with maturity. Let them return with honesty. Let them return prepared to explain what happened. Let them return willing to take responsibility for the pain caused by their absence. Do not accept words without actions. Do not accept promises without consistency. Do not allow nostalgia to convince you that every old pattern should be repeated. You have grown. You have learned. You have survived moments that once seemed impossible. You are not the same person who was waiting anxiously for answers before. My beloved child, your strength is not measured by how long you can tolerate uncertainty. Your strength is measured by your willingness to choose peace even when your heart still loves someone. And that is the lesson your soulmate may now be learning too. They are realizing that losing access to you was not the same as losing their feelings. They are realizing that distance did not erase the connection in their memory. They are realizing that the third party cannot simply fill every emotional space that you occupied. But remember, my beloved child, this is not about competition. You are not required to defeat another person to prove your worth. Your worth was never determined by whether someone chose you quickly. Your value does not increase because another person loses influence. Your value was already there. You were worthy before they recognized it. You were worthy while they were confused. You were worthy while they were distant. You remain worthy regardless of what they decide. My beloved child, the breaking point between your soulmate and the third party may reveal truths that were previously hidden. It may expose incompatibilities. It may bring difficult conversations. It may force your soulmate to admit what they truly feel. But you must allow those events to unfold naturally. Do not chase information. Do not obsessively monitor them. Do not spend every hour wondering what they are doing. Your life is too valuable to be placed on pause. While your soulmate is dealing with their decisions, you are being called to deal with your own healing. There is a reason you survived the silence. There is a reason you learned to stand alone. There is a reason you discovered parts of yourself you never knew existed. My beloved child, perhaps you once believed that your happiness depended on one person's return. Now you are learning that happiness begins inside you. If they return, they should add to your peace, not become the source of it. If they return, they should meet a stronger version of you. If they return, they should understand that your heart is precious and cannot be treated casually. Your soulmate may be thinking about reaching out. They may be wondering what they would say. They may be replaying old conversations. They may be imagining your reaction. They may be afraid that you have moved on. They may wonder whether you would still listen. They may fear rejection because they know their past behavior created distance. My beloved child, sometimes a person delays contact not because they do not care but because they know they must confront the consequences of their choices. They know a simple hello will not fix everything. They know they cannot return pretending nothing happened. They know you deserve explanations. They know that the third-party situation has complicated their path. They know that if they approach you, they must be honest. This realization can create hesitation. But hesitation is not the same as a final decision. There is still a great deal that can change. My beloved child, the next move may involve you, but it may not happen exactly as you imagine. It could begin with a small message. It could begin through a mutual connection. It could begin with an apology. It could begin with an unexpected encounter. It could begin with your soulmate simply admitting to themselves that they cannot continue living against their own truth. Do not become attached to one specific method. Let the outcome reveal itself. The most important thing is that any movement toward you must be healthy, respectful, and genuine. My beloved child, you have waded through enough uncertainty. You do not need to prove your loyalty by suffering indefinitely. You can love someone and still have boundaries. You can miss someone and still move forward. You can believe in a connection and still refuse to accept disrespect. These things can exist together. Love does not require you to abandon yourself. And if your soulmate has truly learned from the past, they will understand that. The third party may have believed that your soulmate's silence meant they had won. They may have interpreted distance as proof that the connection between you and your soulmate was finished. But silence does not always tell the whole story. Sometimes people remain quiet because they are afraid of what speaking will reveal. Sometimes they stay in situations because changing them requires courage. Sometimes they postpone difficult decisions until circumstances force them to act. My beloved child, circumstances are beginning to force clarity. The emotional pressure is becoming difficult for your soulmate to ignore. The questions are becoming louder. The memories are becoming harder to suppress. The comparison between what they have and what they once felt is becoming impossible to avoid. Again, this does not mean you should expect a guaranteed reunion. It means the emotional situation may be reaching a stage where honesty becomes unavoidable. And honesty, even when painful, is better than confusion. My beloved child, perhaps the third party has been trying to hold the relationship together because they sense something slipping away. They may have become more possessive, more demanding, or more suspicious. They may have noticed that your soulmate is not emotionally present in the same way. When someone feels another person pulling away, they may try harder to control the situation. But control often creates the opposite result. The more pressure your soulmate feels, the more they may retreat into themselves. They may begin questioning whether the relationship is sustainable. They may begin longing for freedom, peace, and authenticity. And in that private space, memories of you may return. My beloved child, you must understand that this is not permission to interfere. Let their situation reveal itself. You do not need to become involved in arguments that do not belong to you. You do not need to contact the third party. You do not need to expose anything. You do not need to fight for a position. Your position in someone's heart cannot be secured through competition. If your soulmate genuinely chooses you, they must make that choice themselves. The strongest reunion is not one created by manipulation. It is one created by two people freely deciding that they want to build something healthier than before. My beloved child, your soulmate may be looking back at the past and recognizing moments they took for granted. They may remember your patience. They may remember your kindness. They may remember how safe they felt talking to you. They may remember the way you listened without judgment. They may remember small details that they never admitted mattered. Memory can be powerful when a person realizes what they lost. But remember this, you are not merely a memory. You are a person with a present and a future. If they want access to you again, they must meet you where you are now. They cannot expect the old version of you to return simply because they suddenly miss you. My beloved child, you have changed through the pain. You have become more aware. You have developed boundaries. You have learned what you will and will not accept. You have discovered that your peace matters. That growth is valuable. Do not surrender it simply because someone returns. If they come back, observe their behavior. Are they consistent? Are they honest? Do they communicate clearly? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they take responsibility? Do they make space for you in their life? These questions matter more than romantic words. My beloved child, there may be a moment when your soulmate finally admits that the third-party situation has not given them what they expected. They may say they are confused. They may say they need time. They may say they made mistakes. Listen carefully, but do not rush to rescue them from their consequences. They need to learn from their own decisions. You cannot do that work for them. You can offer compassion without sacrificing yourself. You can listen without promising immediate reconciliation. You can forgive without forgetting the lessons. And you can love without returning to unhealthy patterns. My beloved child, perhaps the third party believed that time would erase your place in your soulmate's heart. But time can sometimes do the opposite. It can show a person which connections were based on convenience and which ones carried genuine emotional meaning. Time can reveal patterns. Time can expose incompatibilities. Time can make someone understand that what they dismissed was actually precious. Your soulmate may now be experiencing that realization. They may be comparing the emotional quality of different relationships. They may be asking themselves why they still think about you. They may be wondering why certain memories remain so vivid. They may be recognizing that the connection they tried to forget still affects them. My beloved child, do not become consumed by what they are feeling. Let them feel it. Your responsibility is to remain grounded. Eat. Sleep. Work. Create. Pray. Spend time with people who value you. Build your future. Keep moving. The more you build a life that is not dependent on another person's decision, the stronger you become. If your soulmate returns, they will be returning to someone who knows their worth. If they do not return, you will still have a life filled with possibilities. Either way, you win by choosing yourself. My beloved child, there is another important truth you must hear. Sometimes the breaking point is not only happening between your soulmate and the third party. It is also happening inside your soulmate. Their old identity is breaking down. The version of themselves that accepted confusion is being challenged. The version that avoided difficult conversations is being challenged. The version that chose comfort over truth is being challenged. They may be uncomfortable because growth often feels uncomfortable. But this internal shift can become the beginning of a more honest life. My beloved child, when a person reaches the point where they can no longer lie to themselves, everything changes. They may still be afraid. They may still hesitate. They may still make mistakes. But the truth has entered their awareness. Once a person truly sees something, it becomes difficult to pretend they never saw it. Your soulmate may now be seeing the emotional reality of their choices. They may realize that they hurt someone who genuinely cared. They may realize that they allowed outside circumstances to influence their decisions. They may realize that fear controlled them. They may realize that they were trying to avoid pain but created more pain. And this realization can lead to an apology. My beloved child, if that apology comes, listen to the substance rather than the emotion. A powerful apology does not simply say, "I miss you." It says, "I understand what I did, I understand how it affected you, and I am willing to change." That is the kind of accountability you deserve. Do not confuse longing with readiness. Someone can miss you deeply and still not be ready for a healthy relationship. Someone can love you and still need to grow. Someone can regret losing you and still need to prove that they have changed. Your heart deserves discernment. My beloved child, perhaps you have been asking why the third party appeared in this story at all. Maybe you wondered why the path had to become so complicated. Sometimes difficult circumstances reveal what people are truly made of. A third party can expose insecurity, avoidance, fear, attachment, and unresolved issues. It can reveal whether someone chooses honesty or deception. It can reveal whether someone has the courage to communicate or the tendency to hide. It can reveal whether love is strong enough to survive temptation and confusion. Whatever the final outcome, the experience has taught you something. It has taught you to value clarity. It has taught you to recognize actions. It has taught you that you should never have to beg for basic respect. My beloved child, that lesson is priceless. The next chapter of your life must be different from the last. You are not being asked to repeat the same cycle. If your soulmate approaches you again, the relationship must be built on new foundations. No more guessing games. No more hidden situations. No more emotional triangles. No more waiting for someone to decide whether you are worthy. You are worthy already. The question is whether they are ready to meet your standard. My beloved child, there may be a sudden development soon. Something that has been hidden may become visible. A conversation may happen. A decision may be made. Someone may finally say what they have been afraid to say. Do not panic if the first development is messy. Real life rarely unfolds like a perfect story. A person can make a decision and still have complicated emotions. They can leave one situation and still need time to heal. They can reach out to you and still be afraid. Give yourself permission to move slowly. You do not need to answer everything immediately. You do not need to decide the future in one conversation. You can take your time. My beloved child, your peace is your protection. If communication arrives, breathe before responding. Ask yourself whether the message brings clarity or confusion. Ask whether the person is showing responsibility or simply seeking comfort. Ask whether their actions match their words. Your heart can be open without being unguarded. Compassion and discernment can exist together. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate is currently thinking, what if they no longer want me? They may fear that you have healed. They may wonder if you have found someone else. They may wonder whether they missed their chance. This fear may actually be part of what pushes them toward honesty. When someone realizes they could genuinely lose access to a person, they may final.